Good evening, my name is Rudy, and tonight we're going to do a Sharetrackin Basic 1 video in English. So, first of all, once you hit the web page, encompass.sharetrackin.com, you will notice that you find a login page, and on the login page, you will enter your username, and then also you would enter your password, and then say log in. All right. So the moment you log in, you will see a dashboard. Now, you've got different dashboards. Some of you might notice that there is an extra one here, which is a Forex dashboard, but that we'll get to in other videos. But for now, we're only going to work with two dashboards, which is the investment dashboard and then also the trader dashboard. So the current dashboard which we're on now is the investment dashboard. So the investment dashboard is for your investments. So long-term investments. So let's say from a month up to 2 months, 6 months, a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and so on. So it's a long-term investment dashboard. And then the trader dashboard is for your short-term trades. So let's say, for instance, from a day up until 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. All right. So on your dashboards, both of them, you will notice that the layouts are more or less the same. So we're only going to touch on the investment dashboard, where there's only a slight difference on the trader dashboard, which includes your leverages and margins. So on the investment dashboard, first of all, you get your account balances. So in my case, I've got three accounts. I've got my simulation account, trader account, and then the stock picks account. So if you want to see, for instance, only the simulation one, which is the default usually starts off with 100,000. So you will have one solid pie graph. So you won't have all the others in between. Okay. Then you get your profits and your losses. So profits and losses will give you your income, your expenditure, and then your profit that you've made so far on that one account. For instance, I've got the simulation selected, and it shows me my income, expenses, and profits that I've made. So income is the money that came in so far, the expenditure, what I've paid on my shares, and then the profit that I've made so far. And then the market values obviously is the market values of the current shares in the current portfolio. So if I select simulation, or sorry, trader account, and then on the trader account, it will show you the two shares that I've currently got in there. So it's Kumba Iron Ore and TCP Transaction Capital. So of course, the more shares you have, let's say for instance in the stock picks, the more shares you have, the more bars it will give you, telling you the value of each and every one of them. So the market value that's currently there for each share. Then you've got your accounts. Underneath accounts, once again, it will give you more or less the same as the pie graph, just the layout. So it'll give you a simulation account with your market balance. As I said, market balance starts off with 100,000. Cash balance, the same. Then your investment value of how much money you've basically invested is still in your investments. Your total brokerage costs, so all the brokerages that you've paid so far, and then your growth or your losses. So in this case, with the trader account, it's 60,000 Rand profit so far, and then the stock pick one, 7,196 Rand profit so far. So that will show you your growth or your losses. So if you made loss, it will obviously be in red. Okay. So underneath here, we can see this is basically the layout you get once you start buying and selling your shares. So over here we've got, for instance, like Vodacom, Aspen, Woolworths, Blue Label Telecoms, Transaction Capital, Capitec, MTH, and so on. So it will give you the code for each and every share, the quantity that's been bought, the unit cost, all right? So the price per share. That's of course including your brokerage fees. Then your total cost, same thing, including brokerage, what I've basically paid for the shares, the current price of the share, the current value of what the share is currently standing on from the time I've bought it, today's movement in cents. So just ignore the decimal after that. So it's today's move in cents, overall move that it's made so far in Rand value, and then the overall move percentage. All right, so that's a percentage movement that the shares has gone up or down since we've bought the shares. And then obviously you've got the action button where you can go and set up your SMS notifications, all right, for each and every share. So the trader dashboard will look more or less the same. All right. So on the trader dashboard, you will only see that there's a slight difference. You will get the direction you're buying the shares. So long would be an upward trend, short and a downward trend. The quantity that we've bought, unit cost, the margin. So that's a marginal price. So we're not paying full price per share. We're paying marginal pricing per share on the trader dashboard. The current price of your share, today's movement in cents, overall movement, and then your profits and your losses. Okay, so they look more or less the same. The only difference is that the one is being used for CFDs and the other one is being used for investments. But we'll get to that on a later stage if we go over to CFD videos, and also to the basic three, but they are available right at the top underneath trading index. There is a few of those videos already available. All right, so there's the English versions and the Afrikaans versions. All right, then we get our analysis. Underneath analysis, we find the world market indicators. So underneath the world market indicators, it will give you a world market view, the resources, so your commodities that you can go and look at. So, for instance, Brent crude oil with its code, the price of Brent crude oil currently in rand value, the percentage movement for the day, the date, and then if it's made a growth or a loss or no movement at all. Then below that, we've got the currencies. So the currencies can now be traded if you've got the Forex bot, which is going to be released, or I think it's already released, but it would be released. So you can start trading Forex on it as well. So you've got your pairs, Aussie dollar versus the South African rand, the euro versus the US dollar, the euro versus the South African rand, Great British pound versus the US dollar, British pound versus the South African rand, US dollar versus the Japanese yen, and then US dollar versus the South African rand. Okay, so these are all the pairs. Then the price towards what the rand is currently valued at, the percentage movement that it's moved, the last modified date will obviously be today, the movement of the currencies, and then if you want on the right hand side there will be for if you've got the Forex spot, you will be able to open positions on them. Okay. Then you've got your market indicators. So market indicators will show you your indexes. So you've got your PPX1, DAX, HSIX, Compex, and then your J203. So there is 3 that's been repeated. But yeah, so those are the ones you're going to focus on up and from PPX1 up until Compex, and then the J203 at the bottom. Okay. Then next you've got the stock movement view. Now the stock movement view will show you the movement for today. So first of all, right at the top, once it's loaded, you will get a market sentiment. Now the market sentiment will tell you if the markets have been more bullish or bearish for today. So currently it tells us the markets are closed, and then the date with the current time. So it will give you a bar from left to right telling you that if the markets are more bullish, then you'll have a more greenish side in the bar. But if it's more bearish, then obviously the bearish would be bigger than what the bullish is. So it'll literally be a long bar underneath this here, which would say market sentiment, just telling you if the markets are more bullish or bearish in percentage as well. Then your top 40 blue chip shares. So the top 40 blue chip shares is basically the most, or I would say, yeah, the most known shares in South Africa. So also that the reason they're on this list is because they are the best performers on the market. Okay. So you've got your codes for the shares. So PRX would be Process, ANH News Bush, BTI British American Tobacco, NPN Naspers, GLN Glencore, CFR Company Financial Enrichment, BHP Bulletin, and so on. Okay, so every one of these will give you the price of the share currently, and then the percentage movement that it's made for the day. If you want to know what the code stands for, all you need to do is you need to click on the share, any place in the share. I'll tell you what the name is for that company. Okay, while we're on this page, you will also see that you get the directors' dealings telling you what directors bought and sold shares on the company. Some have, some don't. You get your dividends, what shares paid out, or if the share paid out dividends, it will show you the dividends for the company, the last 3 years financial statements, the market news on the company, the details, which will show you today's details right at the bottom with the latest trading values, the opening, the highest price, the lowest price, the last price, the volume, and then your change for the day with percentage change. Now, the change for the day will obviously be in cents. It's not going to be rand value, and then the amount of deals that's been made. Now, the volume is the amount of shares that's been traded on the JSE or on the share, and then the deals that's been made. So that amount of volume with that amount of deals. Okay, so that's basically the amount of transactions that's been done on on PRX for today. Then the broker consensus or forecast will tell you if there's any forecast or consensus on it. It will the brokers would basically tell you if it's a good idea to buy the share or hold on to it, or if you need to sell the share if you have some of them. Then a snapshot. So a snapshot, just a quick snapshot of the graph, and then the history. So this would be your historical data for the last 3 months with all the opening prices, highest price, lowest price, closing price, and then the volume for the day. So below your top 40 blue chip shares would be your top 10 volume. So this would be, as I said previously, the volume is the amount of shares that's been traded for the day, not the amount of transactions. But this volume here would be basically for the last 23 trading days. So it's not going to be for the day, it's going to be for the last month. Okay, so AEG has had the best volume so far for the month, and first rand second best, and then Sibanye Stillwater third best. But also the volume is not only for shares that's been bought, it's shares that's sold as well. Okay, so that's why you've got the transactions, but it doesn't show you how many has been bought or how many has been sold. It only gives you the volume. Then your top 10 best performers and top 10 worst performers will show you your best performing shares for the day, and then also your worst performers for the day. So the best, so it won't put it like the best one at the top. Okay, no, sorry, actually. So best one at the top. So INL was the best performer for the day with a percentage movement 6.49%, and then the worst performer for the day was Mediclinic MED. So it actually went down from 1 cent to 0 cents. So that might be a delisting. So then we'll take that one just after that, which is CND. So it's 76 cents per share, so it went down by 22% for the day. So I only show the best ones for the and the worst, but does not mean because a share is on the best performance for the day that it would be the best share to go and look at. Same with your worst performance. Doesn't mean that the share is on the worst performance that it's not a share to consider. Okay. It just shows you the performance for the day. Like for instance, gold isn't good to look at now. So how many, even though it did go up for today, tomorrow it might fall again because gold stocks isn't doing that good. All right. Then you've got your price earnings average. So it only gives you a PE average in cents. So it's a price earnings average. So the word basically describes it, the price earnings average. So the earnings that you can basically make in that sector. So basic materials, £5.11. Consumer discretionary is £6.46. Consumer staples is £4.25. Energy, financials, healthcare, industrials, and so on. Okay. Then you've got the top 40 shares bought by clients. So this list updates on a weekly or a daily basis or a monthly basis. It depends on how much you guys out there buy and sell these shares. So for instance, if more of you buy Anglo, for instance, Anglo will start moving up the list. So it's a bigger percentage of clients that buys Anglo. Or if less and less clients started buying Sasol, then Sasol would start going down the ladder instead of staying at the top of the ladder. So for instance, Discam can take over its place or SAPI can take over its place. So it's just on percentage based how many clients have bought certain shares on the software, and that calculates it on the top 10 shares bought by clients. Then your strongest stocks percentage above 200-day moving average and below 200-day moving average, that we will cover in a Sharetrackin Basic 2 video, where we will look at the charting. All right, so where we will go and show you exactly where do the shares, where are the shares currently in lying on on the chart? Is it above the 200-day moving average line, or is it below the 200-day moving average line? And how does it affect those types of shares? Okay. Then positive share sector movement and negative share sector movement gives you gives you all the sectors. All right. So once again, all the sectors, and then also it will show you if which of those shares in that sector would be the best. So for instance, in basic materials, SPA would have been the best mover for the day. And then in negative share sector movement in basic materials, SSW was the worst performing share for the day. All right, or if we go and look at healthcare, AVL moved by 8.11% for today, but in healthcare, ACT was the worst performer for the day. All right, so that's your positive share sector movement and your negative share sector movements, but by sector, which shares were the best or the worst. Then Satrix, you can go and pull up the charting. For instance, like if you want to view the STX 40, that would be the J200, so it's a top 40 shares. So basically, your top 40 blue chip shares would be the STX 40. Then your STX DIV, financials, industrials, RAF, RES, and then your STX SWX. So these can be traded on the software, same as any other stock. All you do is you click on it and then you go say buy shares. So it's the same as any other stock. You can go and buy them, but then you're trading with a Satrix. It's like an index of different companies. So you're not only trading with one financial company, for instance, you'd be trading with a group of financial companies. So it will, like for instance, Standard Bank, FNB, Nedbank, ABSA, all of those thrown into one bundle. So then you're basically trading with all of them at once. Okay. Then your exchange traded funds, ETFs, this can only be traded on a tax-free savings account, not a normal investor account. You can, of course, buy these shares on our software itself, but there is no charting available for the exchange traded funds. But you can go and use external sources for the charting for exchange traded funds, but unfortunately we don't use it. So for instance, if you go to investing.com, you will be able to pull up all those codes on investing.com. Okay. Then next we've got the winning shares list. So the winning shares list is a list that our guru Moshima Gama compiles for us. So our guru's watch list right here at the top, it gives us Aspen Pharmacare Holdings, Anglo America PLC, and then Telcom SA. And then she also says also consider BHP Group PLC. So go long, good potential in 6 months, so it could rise up to 632 Rand and 10 cents. Then on the right hand side is the latest performers. So the best performer so far lately is Capitec Bank with 10.11%, Woolworths 7.73%, Bukele Property Fund Limited 7.53%, Process NV with 6.96%, and then Harmony Gold with 2.59%. Then below that is the recently added shares on the winning shares list. So you'll see that the last one was added on the 6th of the 8th. So that was Truworths with a price of 59 Rand, latest price of 55.23. So it did go down by a bit to 6.39%. Then you've got Woolworths, which has a movement of 7.73, Capitec 10.11%, Bukele Property 7.53, and so on. So this list is a list that she keeps up to date. Okay. So this will also be a list where you go and if you read the T's and C's, you would buy mostly from this list or the top 40 shares, right? Or anything from the SMS notifications or anything like that. Then you've got the charting tools. So the charting tools you don't need to use, or we can go over to the Chart IQ. So Chart IQ, this is basically going to be your chart. All right. So this would be covered in the Sharetrackin Basic 2, where we will discuss the main chart, how the candles work, how to put in your RSI, how to put in your stochastic, and how to read all of them together with a few other moving averages. All right. After that, you find your heat map. So your heat map will tell you which are your basically your best shares for the day, and which are your worst shares for today. So show all right at the top will give you RHB. So RHB has moved by 21%, and then right at the top, right at the bottom, you'll see that ACT has fallen the most for the day. Okay. Then you've got the positive growth. So positive growth will only pull up the 10 top shares on show all, and then negative growth would pull up the worst ones right at the bottom of that show all. Then the top 40 would show all the shares on the top 40 list. All right, so this one isn't from best to worst or from worst to best. This one is a bit scrambled, but you would see that, for instance, SSW and SHP would be the two, and IMP, those three would be the most red. So those are the ones that fell the most, where the more greenish ones like Sasol would be the ones that had a better movement on this list. Then, of course, you've got your watch list. So any shares that you've got on your watch list will also show you the growth since you've added it onto your watch list. All right, and then also, so from best to worst. Then the stocks page, same thing. We're going to go through this in session 2, in basic 2. So next week, Monday, we will go over the charts IQ and then the stocks page. Golden Goose, we will also cover in a Golden Goose video. As I said, if you want to go and watch these videos for those, you're more than welcome to go to the training index and go and watch the Sharetrackin basic 2 and 3. All right, so you can go and watch them beforehand if you don't want to watch a live one. Then underneath accounts, you've got your invest option. So you don't need to use the invest option from here, just much easier to go to the stocks page, and do your filtering, select the share and just click on it and then just say buy shares. But you can go to invest from here and go and filter out. For instance, if I want equities, I would click on equities, and then I need to go and select the sector, and in the sector I would need to go and search for that certain stock. So this page does take a while to load up. That's why I prefer to go to the stocks page and just by clicking on a share instead of doing the buy and sell transactions from the invest. Right, we might need to reload the page from here because it's taking a while to log or to load. Right, so let's just log in again. Okay, so we can go back to analysis. All right, sorry, accounts. So underneath accounts, you also find your financials. So the financials is basically like your bookkeeper. So anything that you buy and sell on any one of your accounts would be on your financials. So underneath simulation will give me my current holdings, my safety ratchets for my shares. So let's take, for instance, the trader account. So, no, wait, let's take the stock picks one. It will show us a little bit more. Okay, it also takes a while to load. Okay, let's use the trader account. We'll show you a summary of everything you've done so far, the current holdings of the shares you've got, the safety ratchet. So for instance, it tells me I need to go and sell Kumba iron ore. So usually it doesn't do this, it just stretches it out so you can read everything. Then your transactions, all the transactions you've done so far, your cash flow of where your money went into, and then of course your income and expenses for all the shares that you've bought and sold. Then manage accounts. Over here, you can go and create extra accounts. So you see that I've got 5 different accounts. So you can create investment account, trader account, and forex account. But you can have, I think, maximum about 5 more or less, which would be your normal simulation account, a CFD account, forex account, and then you can go and add an extra trader account and an extra investment account. Okay, so you can have up until I think 5 or 6 different accounts that you can play around with, and they're all demo. So please note that it is not real money. You can't deposit real money into the software. The software is just your tool that you're going to use. All right, so it's your toolbox so that you'll be able to do the work and then do your real trades on whichever platform you choose to do your real trades through. So the software would be your tool to go and do your analysis on. Okay, so you can of course go to action. For instance, if you have a change on your real trading account or investment account, you can go to the right hand side underneath action, and then you can say, okay, I want to deposit a certain amount in here because on my real one I deposited an X amount, and I can say, okay, but I also did a withdrawal, so I will do a withdrawal as well. All right, so the two can basically balance out. Then you've got your calculators, the investment calculator. Now the investment calculator we will also cover in basic 2. This will be where we're going to calculate how many shares we need to be able to break even before we start making profit. Okay. And then next is the financial independence calculator. So the financial independence calculator basically tell you how long would you take to reach financial independence if you do investments. So obviously, if you're doing trading, it might be quicker because it's a rapid trading that you're doing. But if it's investments that you're doing, you might take a little bit longer. But investments can be less tedious than what the trades are. So over here it asks you your monthly salary. So let's say a monthly salary with 10,000 Rand a month with the future inflation rate. So the yearly increase on your pay of 6%, your capital that you've saved so far. Let's say we've saved 5,000 Rand. Your savings rate, so it's like 10% of what my salary is. So it's like 1,000 Rand a month that I can save. And then my return, what do I basically want to gain per year? So if I want 40% per annum, I can change this to 40, and then I just say calculate, and it will tell us that to gain about 40% per annum, it will take us 7 years and 6 months to reach financial independence. It means that your money will only be starting to work for you after 7 years and 6 months. But as I said, that if you're doing trading, it might be faster, and if your salary is a bit higher and your inflation rate might be higher, so each and every one person's inflation rate and salary will differ. So for some, this would be quicker. For some, it might take longer. Okay. Then underneath education, you've got your lecture modules. So obviously, some of these things aren't available yet. So they will become available with time. Like for instance, with the Forex stuff, it's not available as of yet. It's open for testing for the support guys so far, but it's not open to everyone as of yet. So lecture modules, these are the normal lecture modules. So underneath the lecture modules, you get your introductory, technical, fundamental, and economic. So these, what you do is underneath introduction, for instance, on the right hand side, when you go to more, it will give you an entire module on introductory, introducing you to the markets and telling you basically what you can, just give you an introduction on what the markets are about. Okay. Then with 2 videos at the bottom, your motivation, and then also eliminate the middleman. But you can also go and write tests on these lecture modules. So after you've done a lecture module, you can go to exams, and then you select your category. You go to your motivation, and you say start exam. Once you said start exam, you can answer all the questions. So this is exactly why my tests all of them look like I failed them all. Like for instance, now that one's also failed. That's basically what you're going to do. You're going to answer each and every one of those. So start exam. So this is the planning to be reached, and you just answer them. So it's a monkey puzzle that test that you need to do. All right, so once all of them are answered, so you'll see that that one also had 6 questions. Some of them have 6, some of them have 10, some of them will have 15. And it's not questions to catch you out. It's basically questions on the module that you've did, or the video that you've watched on that lecture module. So all of these need to be done. So once again, if we touch base with the T's and C's, it will say that you need to go and complete each and every multiple choice question on the lecture modules. Okay. Then next we've got the webinars. So same as this webinar, there is some pre-recorded ones. So underneath Sharetrackin webinars, these are old videos, but they are really good to go and watch that, because you can gain a lot of insight on how the markets work and gain some extra motivation to move forward. So for instance, number 1 is your motivation. Number 2 is eliminate the middleman, taking financial responsibility, stop losses, what's good stop losses, tax and investor, how does your tax work, prospecting, how to do prospecting on the markets, what is a moving average, what is the advanced moving average. So this would teach you a little bit more on technical and fundamental analysis. Then live webinar archive. So these live webinars are webinars that I do, Karel does, Hendrik de Jager, and also Mashima Gama, our guru. So underneath this list, you'll get your video selection. So the latest one that Mox did was general retailer shares, what to expect, part 2. MSM, ShopRite, Woolworths, DCP, APN, and CLS, with, of course, the date. So if you want to watch one of these videos, all you do is you click on it and then just click on the play button. So it's a normal YouTube link. Okay. So there's a lot of basic videos in between these as well, and a lot of, for instance, like the Sharetrackin, timing when to buy, when to sell, or tydsberekening, wanneer moet ek koop, wanneer moet ek verkoop. So there is a load of videos that we've recorded in the past. So lots of basic ones, basic twos, basic threes, and CVDs and stuff like that. Then you've got your Sharetrackin tube. So this is a little bit more advanced than normal videos. So this would tell you basically how to go and calculate your accounting period, your balance of payments. So what is the equity, dependence, candlesticks, financial year, how to read the financial year statements, and then earnings per share. Then your webinar bookings. So if you want to make a booking for a webinar, just click on webinar bookings, and then over here you can go and make a booking from this list. So metal shares, a recovery or a short squeeze with a few shares that Mox is going to analyze with you guys. So this one is on the 30th from 1 to 1:30 in the afternoon. But if you do miss it, it will be underneath the live webinar archive. All right, so the next day we usually just upload them. Then your glossary. So glossary is any words or terms that you don't understand. So all you do is, for instance, if you don't understand what abandon means, you just click on abandon and it'll give you a short description. Or if you want to know what warrant means, just click on warrant. Or zero sum game, click on that, it'll give you a description for zero sum game. Okay, so for some reason that one doesn't work. Or speculating. Okay, I think it. There we go. So dealing costs. So some of those red words don't have descriptions, but most of them will have descriptions. So what you can do is, if the red word does not work, you can always go and search in the glossary. Okay, so if you want to know, for instance, what a stochastic is, just type in stochastic, click on stochastic, and will give you a description for that. Okay, so definition with more information on it. All right. Then next you've got your market information, so market news. Market news will pull in the daily news so far, what's happened on the JSE. So this is basically overall. So it's not per share. You can't go and filter out per share over there. You can go to search at the top and then pull in the market news per share underneath search. But the market news would be in general. Everything that's market related or non-market related will be mentioned underneath market news. Okay, so now and then you will find some stuff that's non-market related, but they will have some effect to some shares on the JSE, okay, depending on what news it is. Then market information will give you all the information on certain shares, for instance, like what shares are currently still active, what shares are suspended, what the website links are for those shares, with the code, the company, and the sector or sectors that they trade in. So if a share shows suspended, then it means that you can't go and trade with those shares. So you can't trade or invest with them. It means that they do not exist on the JSE anymore. Some of them, like for instance, African Bank Investment Limited, they have got a new code, like for instance, AXL. Okay, so they will have a different code. And APSA, same thing. APSA usually was ASA, now it's ABG. Okay, so some of the shares might be relisted, but just underneath new names. Then the JSE index reference. So these are all your JSE index references, which you can go and use on the charting, especially if you want to trade Satrix, like for instance, the STX40. You will need to go and look up, for instance, like the FTSE JSE top 40. So then you use that code to go and view what those groupings are doing. Or financials, like the STX Fin, you will go and look for the financial one. So there's the financials. Okay. Then you've got your list of stockbrokers. So for those that's already at that stage, that if you want to open an online share trading account, you can come to this page. For instance, like if you want to open an account with Easy Equities, it will give you the telephone number, the location where they're located at, the website, and then if it's got an online trading facility or not. You would preferably go for one with an online share trading facility and not one without, because for instance, like FFO Securities, they don't have online facilities or a website. You'll basically have to go and Google them, or you can just phone them and they will basically open a trading account for you through them. Okay, but then they do all the trading. Okay, so we prefer rather going with one with an online share trading facility. Just click on the link. The website link will take you directly to the website where you can go and open an online share trading account. Then we've got the media. So for those that don't know, we've got a Facebook page, a Twitter page, and a blog. So you're more than welcome to go and have a look at our Facebook page. Go and join the Sharetrackin media group as well, so that you'll be able to stay up to date with all the latest news, and then also with all the latest videos. So most of our webinars also go to the Sharetrackin media Facebook page, but the Facebook page, you need to go and asked to join the group because it is a closed group. So you need to give me your ID number or your serial number of your software package, and then also, or you can give me your contact number even, and then also accept the T's and C's. If you only give me your number and you don't accept the T's and C's, then we're not going to accept you onto the Sharetrackin Facebook page, because the rules are there for a reason. Okay, so if you want to join it, please just give us your, as I said, contact number, ID number, or your serial number for your package, and then also agree to the T's and C's, and then we'll accept you onto the Sharetrackin media page. But the normal Sharetrackin page is open to the public, so everyone can go and view it. Then we've got our Twitter. So Twitter is obviously open source, so it's open for everyone. And then the blog is a blog that one of our gurus also maintains. All right, so the latest thing there would be candlesticks from 2019, but that's not what we want to look at. We want to look at the possible retracement. So if we go to possible retracement, buy, sell opportunities, there's a few other webinars that you can go and register for as well. Okay, and then same with tydsberekening, wanneer moet ek koop, wanneer moet ek verkoop. So these are in English and in Afrikaans, right? So in both languages. So the Sharetrackin M over there, I think that will take you directly to the Twitter page. All right, so if you click on that, it's going to take you directly to the Sharetrackin media Twitter page. Okay, so that's it. So that's the Sharetrackin basic. So that's the basics of the software, basically all the tools on the left hand side. So next week, Monday, we will do a webinar in English again, but it's going to be on basic 2, right? How to filter, how to go and analyze, how to buy and sell, and also how to set up your SMS notifications. So this coming Thursday, I will do this same webinar in Afrikaans. All right. So I'll see you guys for these that want to watch the basic 2 webinar in English next week Monday. I'll see you guys then. And for these that want to watch this video in Afrikaans on Thursday, I'll see you on Thursday.